Hi, and welcome to the Veterans Corner. My name is Chuck Woodin. I'll be your host. After taking about 1.5 years off, we've decided to come back on a part-time basis. We return with the same commitment and mission that we had before, and that is to bring to you, the viewers, important veterans issues that benefit our veteran community and their families. We have a special guest today who's been here many times in the past, Donna Dunyan. She's a director of the Veteran Strong Community Center in Bristol. Donna, welcome back again.
Thank you, Chuck. It's always my pleasure to come in.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. Your shows have always been very informative. It's a treat for the viewers in a lot of information.
Good.
So let's get right into this. When did the Veterans, actually, I said the Veteran Strong Community Center, when did it open?
We opened officially on July 1st, 2016. So we've been there for 1.5 years now. We'll get into there was actually changes and all that. Yeah, we'll get into the history.
You know, are there any eligibility requirements? There must be for something, and not just anybody can walk into the center.
Actually, any veteran, military retired, military family, active duty servicemen, they are all, and women, all welcome to come in. What happens is, it's part of my job to find out what programs and services they're eligible for. So if we have a World War II veteran who comes in and needs services, I'll look at the discharge papers and determine what they're eligible for. If I have a National Guard member who's just does their drill duty 1 weekend a month, I'll discuss with them and see where we can go to find services that they need. I've even had people with dishonorable discharges come in, and we kind of figure out what their needs are, where we can go to help them. In most cases, or in some cases I should say, it could just be a matter of making sure they're connected to some of the social services available through the state of Connecticut. But I'm not going to tell anyone they can't come in.
Yeah.
They come in, we sit down, we talk, we figure out where everything stands, what they're looking for, what they need, and then we figure out from a VA perspective or a state perspective what they're eligible for.
I think it was very important for you to mention the fact of the dishonorable discharge.
Yeah.
That and other than honorable.
Yes.
Because those two are normally, you know, with those discharges, normally the way the system's set up, they're not considered veterans.
Exactly, and that's part of it. For my purposes, for the purposes of the center, anyone that wore a uniform,
Good.
I consider a veteran.
Good.
When we get down to the nitty-gritty of what types of programs and services they might be eligible for, then we get into the more finite definitions of a veteran as far as the federal government is concerned.
It was good that you mentioned that, because I mean, there are some out there that may not think that they're eligible now that by watching this show, now that they know, you know, that they actually are. You know, there was a lot of changes that recently that you've gone through at the center.
Yes.
You want to tell the viewers about? Do we have time?
I don't know. 25 minutes. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. So historically, I've been doing this type of work since March of 2012, so 6 years this March. And I started out working in the capacity of a federal contractor for a federal program called, very similarly, Army Strong Community Center. Like a lot of programs that we've seen the last couple of years, funding got cut, programs had to shut down, Army Strong had to shut down in June of 2016. But I couldn't just lock the doors and walk away. Too many of the people that came into the center were not necessarily Army reservists, but veterans within the community.
Yeah.
And I couldn't leave them without a resource. I couldn't look myself in the mirror to do that. So we, and I say we because I have a co-founder who's in the Army Reserve still, Pat Nelligan. We reached out to another nonprofit, Bristol Veterans Council, for initial sponsorship until we had our own nonprofit up and running. And we kept the center open without a lapse in services, without really a significant name change. We are still in Bristol City Hall. I kept the same phone number. Email changed, but I don't get a lot of email traffic from veterans. And we made it as seamless a transition as possible.
That was, I mean, I know during that time frame, you went through a lot of work. I mean, you were busy.
It was very busy. It was very hectic. Wasn't always sure where the funding was going to come from. With the way the state government's going, I'm still not sure where permanent funding will come from, but it's a work in progress. I think I feel confident in saying we have incorporated it, and we are nonprofit pending. So I do have a board of directors. So we're making all the right moves in the right step to have this as a permanent resource within the community to help the veterans and their families.
You know, all the dedication that you had and the passion for what you've done, and I've seen it over the years. Without that, you know, for you to do this transition without any interruption whatsoever, not even a hiccup. I mean, the veterans in the community, there was no interruption whatsoever.
No.
And that's a testament of, you know, the job that you've done.
Thank you.
At the center.
Thank you.
What are some of the services people can expect and find at the center?
When people initially walk into the center, I'll give a little walkthrough. I have tons of flyers and brochures and information just right there for their taking. I have information on education, information on job placement, job services, information on healthcare, behavioral healthcare, and then information on fun things that are going on in the community. If there's a for chaplains service, or if there is a baseball game going on that's a military appreciation. I try to really make it a one-stop shop that they can come in and find whatever they need. Additionally, I have a computer and printer that they're welcome to use, whether they need it to access the VA sites for benefits information or pull up any of their own personal financial information. We are in City Hall, so we have the security and the firewalls in there. They can work on job searches, resumes, you name it. As long as they can access it with those firewall restrictions, they can go on and use the computer. Additionally, I have service providers that come in on a regular basis.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah. So we still, and this has been from a carryover from the old program to this one. We have Soldier, Sailors, and Marines Fund, which is a financial need-based program run by the State of Connecticut Department of the American Legion. The volunteers are there about a day and a half a week, and they're there every week. We also have, once a month, I have a State of Connecticut Veteran Service Officer come in. He can assist the veterans with their pension or disability questions. Anything that's a VA benefit, non-healthcare, he can help with.
Now, is that one from the American Legion, or do you have the VFW or
No, right now,
DAV?
the door's always open for any of those service agencies if they'd like to have an outpost. Right now, the only one I have that comes in is State of Connecticut Department.
Okay.
Service officer comes in from the Connecticut VA.
Okay. So none of the VSOs come in?
None of the VSOs right now.
They used to at one point.
They used to at one point. We had a VSO from the American Legion, actually, and he retired. And we haven't gotten back on the same schedule with the new VSO and everything. But the door's always open if they need an outpost, or even if it's not a regular scheduled outpost, if they have a client that they need to meet in the Bristol area and they don't have anywhere to meet them, they can just give me a call up. I have space that can be utilized for that as well. I have many more service providers that come in on a regular basis. I want to let everyone know about.
Well, that's good. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We need to let the viewers know what's available to them.
Who else do I have? Once a month, right now I have Army Wounded Warrior Command. It's a special command through regular Army that they help transition wounded warriors back to civilian life. And there's a caseworker that'll come in. The day of the month that he comes in, we usually stay open till 7 o'clock to help accommodate people that are still working.
Okay.
Some of his clients are able to work, so he can meet with them in the evenings. And every other week on Monday mornings, I have a counselor from the Danbury Vet Center come in, and he's able to meet with family members, veterans, whoever needs to meet with them. He carves out the time and will do counseling sessions right there. We give them a corner of the center that's private and secluded, and they can have their privacy and get help at the same time.
They've been coming in for a long time.
We've had a great relationship with the Danbury Vet Center over the years. Different counselor now, but still a wonderful relationship with them.
That's great.
And it's very helpful to have them in on some situations that come in the office. I'm trying to make sure I covered everybody. I think that's it. And then, of course, I interact constantly with different offices of the VA, especially the homeless outreach team. So they know, and any of the housing people know, that they can utilize the center to meet with clients. And that way it's a little more private than meeting at the library or something, or at the shelters. And they can come in and assist the veterans that are homeless or need housing issues.
By having it in a private setting, you're more apt to have those veterans come in.
Yeah.
They're not going to come in if it's not in a private setting.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
You know, I'm going to have to get the list of all the people you have come in, because it'd be great to have them on the show.
Oh yeah, I know. I'll share my list with you.
It'd be great for the viewers.
Yeah.
And it would also enhance not only what they do, but what you do. I mean, it's all tied in together.
It is, and one of the a couple of the other things I do, I will go and do outreach. So if there's a group that wants me to come and talk about a specific topic or subject, I can come and speak, or I can find a speaker who can come. I do the outreach. I will do a newsletter every month. I have a newsletter that I write every month. And even in the newsletter, I don't write a lot of articles just because I'm there alone, so it's hard to write a whole newsletter by myself. But I will put an agenda of the calendar for the month down. So people, if they subscribe to the newsletter, or if they follow me on Facebook for this, the center has a Facebook page, they will see the calendar of events for the month and see when Soldiers, Sailors, and Marines Fund is available, when the service officer will be in, when the counselor is in. They can see all that, and it's right there, one page every month. I give them the calendar. Now,
for the viewers that are watching, if they wanted to subscribe, they just have to contact you?
Yep, they can contact me a couple of different ways. They can come into the center, which is in Bristol City Hall. They can call me at 860-584-6258, or they can, the easiest way, because the email is a very long and complicated email, is to go through Facebook. Yeah. If they go through the Facebook page, Veteran Strong Community Center, there's a link there to send me an email, and they can subscribe to the email. I'm working on a new website, which will have a new email, so when I get that all done, I can come back in and talk about the website.
Beautiful. You're always welcome.
Well, thank you.
I mean, every time you've been here, it's been a great show. It's, we've had comments on it.
Good.
A lot of great information.
Good.
And that's what this show is all about. The Veterans Corner was developed to make sure that we bring to the viewers the benefits, not only to the veterans, but their families.
Yeah.
And close friends who may see something that they can recommend to a veteran or one of the families.
Well, that's very similar to what my mission is at the center. It's, when I go out and speak to the groups, I always preface everything with that I'm not an accredited service officer. However, here's what I can tell you about VA benefits that you might be eligible for. Here's what I can tell you about where to go to speak to the experts who can tell you. I'm finding that there are some people in the communities that are going out and speaking about VA benefits who don't even converse with a service officer. We've had people come in and want to solicit to help with VA benefits, and that's a big no-no.
Yeah, absolutely.
So part of my mission is to make sure that people are just aware of what the resources is and where to go to find them.
Legitimate resources.
Yeah, exactly.
Resources that are actually going to help you.
Yeah.
Funding. I know funding has been a major issue since you switched over.
Yeah.
What have you been doing for funding?
The first 6 months were really rough, but we were able to find some funds, some private donations, and again, we utilized our partnership with the Veterans Council because they have the nonprofit status right now. But for this current fiscal year, what we did was there is a state mandate on the books that says each municipality should have a person in place to act as a veteran's contact person.
That's right.
So I did some research and looked at not just Bristol, but the surrounding communities, and we found out that some of them, if they had one, it was an added duty for a town employee, or it was a retiree from one of the local posts or chapters of a service organization that may or may not be able to be reached at any given time. So we approached the towns and said, here's how many veterans you have in your town. Let's do a proportionate share of the funding, and I will act as that point person for your community. So that's what we've done. We are partnered with not just Bristol, Southington, Plainville, Thomaston, Plymouth, Wolcott, Burlington, and Harwington. I got 8 of them. So 8 communities that we are partnered with. We originally tried to partner with 12, but I'm finding this last year the 8 is very manageable. It's within a 10-mile radius. So if I'm called out from Bristol to go to Thomaston or go to Plymouth, it's doable for me. It's manageable. And that is how we've been getting the funding for this current fiscal year. They each contribute a proportionate share.
They've been good about it?
Everyone paid up front as soon as the fiscal year started, and it's been good. I'm very cognizant, though, about everything that's been going on in the state capitol and the budget and how it may or may not affect the towns. Yeah. So I'm hoping that I can, the next time I'm here, say we're 501c3. We got the letter from the IRS, and then we can actively go out and do fundraising and solicit for donations and grants and things like that. And we do have one major fundraiser that we've participated in for the last 2 years. It's the Bristol Mum-a-thon. It's a 8K road race. Okay. It's a very family-friendly event, and it's been a great contributor for the last 2 years for the center. I think this last October, we earned about $5,000 worth of our funding from that race. So it's a great partnership.
That's in September, right?
It's in conjunction with the Mum Festival, but it's like the tail end, so it's actually in October. Okay. It's got a Halloween theme. If anyone's a runner, it's so much fun. I don't run, I'm there. I watch everybody, but it's a lot of fun.
You know, it'd be great when the time gets closer. You know, maybe August. Maybe we can do a
definitely.
show. And,
we'll come back on.
And you can update us on things that are going on at the center.
Absolutely.
And it's a great way to advertise. For the run.
Yeah.
Now, since you're out there with these other 8 communities, does it bring you out of the office? Do you have to go there a lot to the other communities?
Not a lot. That's why, I try to stay in Bristol Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But I always caution people to just call ahead before you come in to make sure I'm not called out to go to another community, or I'm not at a networking meeting or something else within the community. They should always just call ahead and just make sure that I'm there.
What was that number again?
860-584-6258.
6258. 860-584-6258. You can't say it enough.
No, I know.
If you didn't get it, don't worry. We're going to say it again. How many people do you see, and what are some of the typical issues that you deal with assisting with those that do come in?
All right, so this is perfect timing because I was just doing all my numbers for the year end. In 2017, we had 360 individuals come through the center.
Wow.
That's just to see me. Yeah. I didn't get the numbers completely from the Soldiers, Sailors, and Marines Fund volunteers because they've been so busy. But 360 individuals. It's just, to me, that's astonishing that I saw that many people in 1 year. And that's just the individuals. They could have come in 5 or 6 or a dozen times throughout the year. What I'm finding that some of the key issues are financial assistance, housing, employment, and then just general questions about VA benefits. How to apply for health care, how do I apply for the pension, what is the pension, how can I speak to someone about a potential disability claim, those types of things.
Yeah, I mean, I know before when you were in there, so you were there from day one.
I've been there since day one.
Since 2012.
Yep.
And the job that Donna is doing now used to be a 2-person job for many years.
Yeah.
How is it related now compared to what it was back a few years ago when it was under Army Strong? Traffic and all.
Traffic, I would say traffic has definitely picked up.
Because you're dealing with the surrounding towns.
Because I'm dealing with the surrounding towns. I tell people too, I get referrals through United Way's 211 number. I get referrals through social services. So anyone in the state can call me. Yep. I can't necessarily go to Waterbury or Hartford, and it may take me a little bit longer to find the resources in those communities, but I'm open for anyone in the state to call the center and ask information. But back to your question, how is it different? Definitely more traffic, I feel. There's been a lot more publicity. We had a lot of publicity when we first opened and about the struggles I was having with the funding and the possibility of having to close it down after 6 months.
That was very real. I remember that.
Yeah, that was really, it was heartbreaking for me to have to do some of those interviews. I think Facebook and social media, being able to have that presence out there, it may not seem like a lot. I think it's great that I have over 300 followers on Facebook for the center. I get a lot of information out that way. Yeah. I put my hours out there. I put the newsletter out there. I think that has an impact. And I have people I follow along in the various town Facebook pages. I'll kind of troll a little bit and see conversations, and if they mention veterans or military, I'll kind of jump in and say, hey, this is where I work. Why don't you send me a private message and we can talk about this in more detail. So I've probably had about 25 or so interactions with people just through social media.
Now, there's a lot of VS
VSOs.
VSOs, there we go. It's been a long day. Spit that one out. VSOs in the area.
Yep.
Have you dealt with a lot of them, or have they been receptive?
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, when you say VSO, you're talking about the service organizations. When
Yeah.
I think of VSOs, I'm thinking about the officers.
Yes.
The veteran service officers.
I'm thinking of the
So it took me a
American
minute
Legion,
to think about that.
the VFWs,
Yeah.
the DAVs. There's a number of other veterans organizations out
Mm-hmm.
there. The Polish League of American
Veterans,
Veterans. I know there's one in New Britain. It's another. I forgot the name
Oh,
of that
I know
one.
who you're. I know they do the kielbasa, the golden kielbasa.
Well, that's a DAV
Okay.
with Dennis Buden.
Yeah.
But there's another one in New Britain also. I was just wondering how they have been with you as far as helping you.
They've been very receptive. I've actually gone out within the last 3 months to a couple of the American Legion posts and talked to the membership about the center, about what I do, and have been getting more referrals from them, of their members coming in. And I've gone up to, I think it was Burlington, we had a meeting with the seniors. The town of Burlington did a public invitation out to veterans and service members in the town, and we had a luncheon gathering, and it was kind of like a lunch and learn type of thing, and I went in and talked to them about the center and followed up with any questions, any specific issues that people had.
Well, we're just about running out of time. Is there anything else that you'd like to?
I can't stress people enough if you have questions, to call the center at 860-584-6258. Reach out to me on the Facebook page. If you don't do social media, come into the center in City Hall in Bristol and see me, ask questions, and just, don't be afraid to ask questions. That's the biggest thing I'd say.
When those are familiar with or aren't familiar with Bristol City Hall, Donna is located on the first floor. When you walk in, you're on the south side of the building.
Yes.
South side of the building. And remember, we were going to say it again and again, 860-584-6258. Give her a call. Even if you're in between, don't hesitate. The help is there. A lot of times veterans and their families are hesitant to make that call.
Yeah.
And there's help out there. Take advantage of it. It goes by like that, doesn't it?
I know, that was quick.
But we're going to make sure that you're a regular here for the viewers,
Absolutely.
and it helps everyone out,
Yep.
Including yourself. That's about all the time we have for this episode of the Veterans Corner. We hope you enjoyed it. We encourage you once again to get in touch with Donna if you have any questions. And a special thanks to you, Donna. Thanks for being here again.
It was nice being here.
It was a very informative 25 minutes, as always.
Good.
On behalf of the veterans, you're doing a great job down there.
Thank you.
And keep it up.
Thank you.
With that being said, my name is Chuck Woodin from the Veterans Corner. Thank you for watching, and good night.